Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So we're starting a new project. This is it's upside down. This is forward fuselage on my new FPV platform. Since the F-18 is no longer here with us. So anyways, this is a t38, just like that, but this is 105 inches long versus 144. And this will have the same power plant and camera setup as the F-18. So that's the forward fuselage. This is the rear fuselage, all 6mm depron. So right now, what I'm doing is I'm getting ready to skin this lower section here. And on the F fuselage, did the more traditional box method, where you stack up material in the corners, and then it's just a box, and then you just round it off. So I probably could have done that with this one, but I'm trying to save weight, and then this is a fairly rounded surface on the real one. So anyways, I'm trying some skinning here. So take depron. Depron does have a grain that bends easier one way than it bends the other, so you got to find which way the grain is on your piece. And I score it. I think that helps it quite a bit. So I just used a pen and a ruler and just score it. And then you use a little bit of heat with a heat gun. You can bend it around a edge of like a countertop, which also works. So anyways, I'm gonna glue these down one section at a time, and then the whole turtle deck is also sheeted this way. So just the forward upper section and then the whole lower forward fuselage will get this same thing. So I'll probably glue it to the stringers and these bulkheads first, but not all the way down. And then, well, right here won't get anything. But anyways, it's gonna glue down and then shape it out and stuff. I'm gonna end up cutting a bunch of this out because this is where the ducting comes through here. So most of this will get cut out. This is obviously the upper portion of the inlet. So anyways, that's where we're at. So we're going to be sheeting all these sections and then matching them all up and smoothing them out with lightweight spackle. So anyways, that's where we're at so far. We'll come back when I got something else to show. Alright, so I have this first piece bonded here. This is the ducting area. So I'm still trying to get all that sorted out, but basically the ducting comes farther down, but I left this intact here to help with the sheeting. So that's all getting glued in first, and then I'm starting to figure this all out over here on this side. So these lines are about where these sections will glue to that area. And I've beveled these back so that way they fit flush. A lot of this stuff, so I designed the basic structure of the airframe with the 3-view, but a lot of this stuff I figure out as I go. So there's some stuff that I just can't plan out until I get to that point and I see it in 3D, and then I can figure it out. So anyways, so right now I'm basically making room for the ducts, which will be out here, right? So I'm probably going to do glass ducts because it's kind of complicated, but I'm going to see if I can get away with depron ducts, if I can make it nice enough to where I think it won't hurt performance, because it will be lighter with depron versus glass ducts. But anyways, so there's our first piece. It's glued in. You can kind of see it in there. Scoring the foam definitely helps. So anyways, let me put these two pieces together and you can see what I'm talking about here. So obviously it's not glued together. I'm just figuring everything out still. So this is the side that's still complete, and you can see that running a duct through there isn't going to work. And this is the side that I have cut out. And so basically the inlet comes out to here, and there's a splitter. So like I said, I'm still trying to figure all this out, so bear with me. But anyways, you can see the sanded away section of my strips here, not finalized, just kind of roughed out. Everything's still roughed out, but anyways, we're working on it, figuring out one step at a time. I'm probably gonna sheet the whole forward fuselage, get all that done, and then I'll start figuring out this whole mess here. So all right, so I had this next sheet ready here. You can see I have more scores in it where the radius is tighter. So this is all fitted up. So basically what I'm going to do here is, because foam safe glue dries pretty slow, even with kicker it can take a few seconds. So what I do is I spray every area on this with kicker that's going to get glue, so stringer area and then along the edges with the kicker, and then I'll come over here and I'll hit all the spots with glue first. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to glue this down like that. Okay? Then once that's set, then I'll start slowly wrapping it around and holding it down while it's curing. And then once I get over to the other side here, I'll hold that down until it's cured. And like I said, it has to be fit pretty well first, so you got to do a lot of little trimming and sanding just to get it to fit really well, but it fits pretty good now. So I'm going to go ahead and glue it. And again, you're going to have to do some sanding around the edges and some blending, lightweight spackle and stuff, but this gets you close. So, and it's pretty strong with the stringers in it when it's all glued together. So anyways, that's where we're going. Get this one glued down. Keep on moving. But I think, and normally when you do canopies with cameras, the canopy distorts the image a little bit, but that's with a molded canopy. So I'm thinking if I use a real thin sheet of plastic without forming it, without heat forming it anyway, so just getting the plastic and making a pattern, because the T38 forward windscreen is straight like this, so it really, you could just cut a piece out and form it over the canopy frame right here and glue it down. And if it's thin enough, I don't think it'll distort the image hardly at all. And that'll do two things. One, provide some aerodynamic help for all this back here as like a little bit of a, you know, a block, an aerodynamic wind block for the camera and everything else. But also back here is the bulkhead for the aft turtle deck, and it's pretty good size, and it's going to stand up, not straight up, but lean back about like that. And I don't want that just like hanging out here in the breeze. So with a windscreen to help deflect some of that air, it won't be as much drag, I don't think. And when I make a canopy, all I have to do is make the two cockpit sections here as one, basically, so it'll keep the size of the plug halfway reasonable. And I should be able to make that on my buddy Eric's vacuum box, assuming he allows me to use it again. So that's where we're at with that. Obviously still got to sheet the top here, no big deal. It should only take me half an hour or so. Might do tonight, might wait, we'll see. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's pretty solid. When you sheet this, it really ties in the structure and becomes much stronger. So again, I'm not 100% sure how this is all going to be finalized back here, but that should be pretty close. And on a side note, this is for Andy because he's going to be building one of these. So the way you frame up this forward fuselage is there's a floor here, and the floor runs from the back all the way to the front. That's all one piece. So that floor is what you glue your stations to first. So the stations get glued down first, right? And then once those are glued down, and after you take your side pieces and glue your 1 inch and your 1/2 inch foam step to them, don't do the balsa yet, just the foam to your sidewalls here. Once you glue those on, then you will glue those to the side of this lower floor and also to your bulkheads. Then once that's done, then you can glue in your balsa sticks here. The reason I didn't glue them in before is because there's a slight bend there, and I didn't know how it was gonna, it's probably fine, but to do it beforehand, but I did mine after. So you could probably do either way before you glue the sides on. But anyways, so a real simple box construction, and I really liked how that turned out because it stayed nice and straight and didn't get a twist in it or anything when I was framing it up. And then once you do all the balsa stringers, then it doesn't really twist much at all. So you do the floor, the sides, the top, and then you glue on these lower bulkheads here with it flipped over, obviously, and you put in your stringers, and then you do your sheeting. So I should have explained that beforehand before I started all this. But anyways, that's how the forward fuselage is built. The rear fuselage is just traditional box method. So the way I did this one was I started off with the bottom sheeting, and I did this just has a single 1/2-inch piece glued to the sidewall here before you glue it to the lower skin. 1/2 inch here. This is 1.5. This is 1.5, 1 inch, and 1/2 inch. I ended up doubling these up because I started off with just a 1, and it just didn't seem like it was going to be enough. So I went back and added another one, and had to re-notch out all the bulkheads and sides so that it would fit. But the way you do this one is similar. So there is a curve to the lower surface. It's not much, but it's there. But what I did was I glued all my stations in onto the lower skin, glued all the corner pieces onto the side skins, and then slowly worked it a section at a time. Obviously not this direction, it would have been on the table like this, not including the top skin at this point. So just the lower skin, the bulkheads, the side sheeting, you glue in a little bit at a time. So the way I did that is I pulled a bit of glue, held it in place, hit it with a kicker, then go another 6 or 8 inches or so, held it in place, hit it with a kicker. You also, because the radius of the curve here is fairly sharp for the amount of material you have stacked up in this corner, I sliced through, you can see the cuts right here, I sliced through the stack up to help it form. So I cut through the stack up this way, all the way to the outer skin, not through it obviously, just to it, through all these stacks of foam here. So anyways, did that. Once that was done and all the formers were glued to the side skins, then I came in and glued the top down, and then obviously shaved it down, formed it. So anyways, I weighed this is actually 10 ounces. I was thinking it was less, but anyways, so we're just over a pound right now for the whole fuselage. And again, this is 105 inches long, obviously missing the nose cone and the afterburners. So anyways, I'm just rambling now, but I got a lot of stuff I got to do. I got to cut out wing core blanks, and I got to cut some bulkheads out, wing spars and stuff of that nature. Trying to keep the plywood minimal in this one compared to the F-18, where we had a lot of plywood structure, and it was strong, and that's great, but I think some of it was a little bit on the overkill side. So trying to be a bit of a minimalist on this one, and I think if I'm a little more careful with the weight and the structure, that will be below 14 pounds on these, which sounds insane for something this big. I mean, this is the size of a Byron F-15, if you know how big that is. That's a big girl. So anyways, let me put these two back together here, and then we'll finish off the video. Okay, so here it is, another airplane in here for size reference. This is a free wing T-45, the 90 millimeter version. So that's like a 58 inch long model, or 57 inch long model, 60 inches, something like that. You can see how big this thing is. It's crazy. So anyways, that's it. She is looking good. And honestly, after seeing how round this is, probably could have just done that here and would have been a lot easier. I should have at least done it on the top, but it is what it is. It's fine. This should be lighter doing it this way with the sheeting, so that's what we're going for. It's a little bit of extra effort. It's less messy, that's for sure. It's a big mess to carve and sand all that, but anyways, top view here. This forward fuselage is massive. Let me grab a couple of batteries. So these are the packs that I'll be using in it. So these are the Roaring Top 6250s. So you can you can see how much room is in here. It's crazy. I haven't decided where the packs are going yet. Should be somewhere right in this area, maybe a little bit farther back. Hopefully not too far forward, because that keeps the weight. I don't want the weight out here. I want it closer to the attachment point to the forward fuselage, so I don't have to get crazy with structure. So you got to think about stuff like that when you're designing something, because if you're trying to keep it light, and really you should be designing stuff this way anyways, you don't want to add extra weight if you don't have to, like that with 4 pounds of lead in the nose. But if you can keep the weight closer to the center, the amount of structure you need to support all this, like say if your packs are out here instead of here or here, the amount of stress in this area here, especially forward of the wing, will be much higher, especially with this massive weight sitting in one spot. So like a lot of ARFs and stuff, the packs are typically up in the canopy area. That's for ease of access and stuff like that, and because they're designed, they usually put the fans farther back and the packs farther forward this way. I don't like doing it that way. I like everything closer to the center as much as possible. So that's how the T38 was with the EDF setup in it. The packs were right about just forward of the wing actually, and the fans were right about here. So that worked out really well on that airplane, and zero extra added weight. And I really don't think we're going to have to add extra weight to this one at all. I don't think hitting the CG will be a big deal. So anyways, super stoked on this thing. Like I said, I got to cut some parts out and decide what I'm doing for ducting. I'll probably just do glass ducting. I think it'll be more efficient, and we'll just have to be careful with the layups to keep them light. So might have my dad help me, because he's super good at doing ducts. I can do them, but they always turn out heavy for some reason when I do them. So anyways, this thing is going to be rad. Super cool. Super pumped. Stay tuned for more videos. I mean, this is like 3 or 4 days worth of work. Not even full days. Probably like, this is like 10 hours of work right here to get to this point. So these things shape up really quick. Once I get the wings and the vertical hot wire cut, that'll happen really fast. And once that's done, the wings will go together really quick. So the goal here is to have this flying by Christmas vacation, just like last year with the F-18. Pretty much the same thing. So we got that flying, I think, the day before Christmas last year. So we got a month and a half, 2 months or so, 2.5 months to get this finished, and I think that's totally doable. I don't think I have any work trips coming up, so that'll definitely aid with that goal. So I do want to excuse me, I had to sneeze. I do want to get this built. This project kind of popped up out of nowhere in the middle of all my other projects, which is how it always happens. But I want to get the jet hanger saber finished. That's not too far off, really. I mean, it's all just finished work. He's had to sneeze again. This is another project that we have to finish too, and if you don't recognize the shape, then you're not my friend. So this is a whole different ball of wax here, but this is a X1, a Bell X1. My friend Paul Stelly built up to this point, designed. We kind of brainstormed on some ideas, came up with this idea to have this be the duct, or the opening for the duct, and then the duct goes actually through the top here. Super cool idea. I don't think you're going to notice in the air. It's going to look amazing, and it's going to have he designed scale landing gear for this thing. They're ridiculous. So anyways, that's definitely on the short list of airplanes to complete. Always wanted to do the next one. It's such a cool airplane with obviously really cool history. So lots of projects going on. We finally got the Texan mostly done, just got to do the little finish work on it. And then of course I have my jet hanger A4, which I also need to finish. And then I got to get FPV set up in this thing. So those are like my projects. But for right now, I'm trying to stay focused on this thing, get it knocked out so I can get all the templates and all the parts to Andy so he can get his built. Now that he's retired, he'll have plenty of time to knock this one out. And I'm thinking that the next box jet I build will be a total box jet. This is more of like semi-scale. but I want to do a Vigilante just like this, like my little UMX one, but for like a single 80. So not very big, something for Bentley to fly. That'll be super light wing loading and just a real nice flyer. He has his free wing Sabre now, and that's a good flyer too, but the fly times are kind of short and it's kind of a smaller model, so I'm thinking like 60-ish inches, real lightweight, real simple, nothing super scale or anything. Just, I mean, geez, this, if this isn't the perfect box jet, I don't know what it is. I mean, it's literally, and this thing's fairly scale really, but it's about as boxy as they come, but it's a pretty design, and obviously lots of wing area. And I'll do the same thing as this, just a single exit with the fake little fairing back there. And anyways, probably about 60 inches or so. Should be cool. So that's future time frame, sometime this year. But like I said, we gotta get through the T38, the X1, and at least one of my jet hangar jets finished this year or so. And obviously I got some tires in the background of my video. I'm going racing in a couple weeks. It's been like 10 months since I raced, so got new tires and we're gonna be racing in a couple of weeks. So anyways, I've talked way too much. Hope you guys enjoyed the video and stay tuned for episode 2 of the T38 build.